Hey, people and ladies, and apparently ladies apparently watch me. That's something. And gentlemen, which I know, of course, is pretty much all of you. Allow me to tell you about the day that I went to school the other day. The other day I went to a school. Now, this school is actually called a college. I'm pretty sure it was a community college, and I went there to take a GED test. That was what I was there for. Of course, I was not, given any details about why I'm anywhere. Nobody in my family tells me anything, which is, I find that funny. That I don't know. Like, if there's plans for like months to send me to a fucking school, and you only tell me the date of when I'm going, that's not really much information for me to go on. Like, I thought for the longest time that I was going, for an actual rigid scheduled, schooling, day to day to day, starting that day, but I wasn't. I was actually there to be taking like an introductory, academic assessment kind of test, which is, just a GED kind of pretest thing. Um, so of course I'm there to be getting my GED. Now I take this test. Okay, let me start from the beginning. I drive there. I'm actually not that nervous about it on the drive there, and it's a long drive. It gave me a lot of time to think about it. It was early in the morning. I was not used to getting up that early in the morning. Woke up at about 6. Actually, let me tell you about the night that I had before that night. That night I actually couldn't sleep that much. It was probably in part due to nerves about the following day, but I think it was mostly just it was too hot and I couldn't sleep. But let me tell you something. I slept maybe 2 hours that night, and the dreams that I had were so strange. I only remember one. It wasn't really particularly a dream. It was mostly just like a weird reality that I formed around myself. It was just kind of like a delusion for a while. It wasn't an actual reality. Well, I guess it became mine for a while, but I was laying in bed, and I remember thinking that my whole world was made of sticks. It was basically Minecraft, except instead of... It was kind of like Terraria, except instead of blocks, it was sticks. It was like a 2D kind of plate, and there was just sticks everywhere. And every time that I shifted in my bed to, uncomfortably find a new uncomfortable position in the heat of whatever that night was, my world would completely shift along with me. And it was like kind of like, an earthquake kind of a thing, or like the world shook and little sticks came out of everything and dislodged everything, and it was basically just it wasn't a dream at all. It was like it was the magical land of easily destructible and maneuverable sticks. It was not a dream. It was just it was a weird fucking psychosis I was under or something. But anyways, yeah, I didn't sleep that much that night. Now on the drive there to the school, I had a lot of time to think about it because it was like a good 8-minute drive, 10-minute drive to get there. It's quite a distance, and I kind of live in a city where it's a city, but it's so stretched everywhere that like there's giant like industrial power plants and fucking gas reproduction systems and shit everywhere, and then like you look across the street and it's like a vast open field. That's the kind of city I live in, so it's weird, but it is all part of the same city. So it's a long ass drive to this one part, and it's actually right by the shore of the ocean. I could see the ocean from the window if I looked, but the windows were closed. They were open when I got there, and I saw the ocean, and they closed them because no distractions while taking the scholastic test of worth. So on the drive there, it gave me a lot of time to think, and I woke up on the way there, of course, and my mom was yelling at me to like get my ID or something when I woke up this morning. So I got my ID. I don't know why they didn't ask for my ID at all, but they did throw me into the class. There, we got directed around, and there were actually like I went to schools that had the kind of mini lockers, like the mini, like foot locker kind of thing, just in vast hallways as far as the eye can see. But this school had like people-sized lockers that you could shove people in, and that was new to me because I've always heard of that. I've always heard of the stereotype of shoving people in lockers and that kind of shit, but I never actually was there and in that kind of scenario before. So we get to the class, and I get to the class, and my mother is like, "Okay, I'll see you in like 4 hours." So she left, and I sat down, and this class was very something else to me. It was otherworldly almost. Like it it was a strange class because I grew up in a middle schools, high schools, elementary schools. There was just like a block room with block desks, very perpendicular to one another, very evenly spaced, and it was a flat room, and there was just a whiteboard in front with a desk. Um, but this classroom was massive. It was rectangular. It was long, and it went up. Those class things where it's like I guess like study halls or lecture halls, whatever the fuck they're called, where there's like a stage at front, and then like the back just rises with seats along it the whole way up. Um, that's what that class was kind of like. It wasn't up to that degree, but it did have a slant going upwards and desks all along going up along with it. And so I sat down at a desk that I didn't want to seem too presumptuous to like sit at all the way in the fucking back or all the way in the fucking front. Because if you sit in the back, then people are just like, well, what's that fucking freak doing? I sat in the back all the time when I went to school last, like when I was last in an actual school. I used to find the back corner of the room and make that my home for the full year. Um, this time, however, I decided to not be a total prat prick douchebag and actually like I just kind of picked like I try to be as center as I possibly could. Like I couldn't like just there were people there and they were staring at me, so I was like, okay, I better fucking find a seat before they think I'm strange counting the seats and shit. So I just found a seat like kind of in the middle as far as I could, but more to the front, not like middle back kind of thing. It's hard to explain, but I did find a seat there, and there were people steadily coming in, and there was one professor there, and she was like, "There's bathrooms here, there's vending machines here, there's a cafeteria down here, blah blah blah," and she was like, "Is there any questions?" And I thought this was the most interesting part of the whole day to me. There was a question like, "Do we have a locker or anything like that?" And she's like, "No, not today." And then some guy asked, "Is there a designated smoking area?" And the teacher said, "Well, it's easier if I show you." And then everybody got up. Everyone in the fucking room got up, except for like me and two other girls. They all got up and paraded out the door to find the smoking area. So me and these two other girls just sat there for a while. It was like total silence. It was at least kind of like a little bit of a buzz, a little bit of some movement sounds when it was a little bit more full. Since there was only 3 people there, it was dead silent. And after a while, I got up and I was like, I didn't say anything, but I just kind of moseyed out the door, just kind of haphazardly, just kind of just wandered out. Because, we weren't told to stay there, so I was bored, so I went out walking somewhere. And I just kind of explored the campus, or whatever the fuck it's called. I explored it around a little bit, and, it was, it was strange. I saw little rooms that just totally reminded me of my old schools, and I had little moments of nostalgia, and little things that I remembered here and there that reminded me of this, and, oh, there's a corner, man, me and my friends used to... We would like that corner and just sit there all lunch break and shit, and, that kind of stuff. So then, after like 10 minutes of just looking around, I came back, and a lot of other people were back too, and new people were there. So I sat back down in my spot, and I just kind of drew on my card for a while, my ID card. I drew on it with like pencil, so I could just erase it off real quick. And after a while, people came back in, and then, the test started. The GED test began. And I was a little nervous when they were telling me about, like, it's going to cost a lot. It's going to cost you, like, fucking $2,000 to enroll for, 6 weeks or some stupid shit. It's going to cost quite a bit. And you're going to have to get sponsored by these people at, like, an association that I never even heard of before. They're gonna have to, look over your case, see if they want to sponsor you with government money, blah 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 blah. And I was just, I don't understand that shit at all. I never did, and I probably never will. So I was freaking out at this point, like, oh my god, $2,000. I don't have that kind of money. I'm pretty sure my parents don't have that kind of money. I'm fucked. And then they went on to say shit like, there's three things that could happen from this test. The first one is what the most of you will be doing, and you will, do okay on the test, and you'll probably be forced to enroll. You'll have your stupid sponsorship thing. You'll, pay a little bit here. Better pay the shit back if you don't complete the course. Blah blah blah. Another thing that can happen is that you could do incredibly well on this test. You could just be fantastic, and then you'll be given a recommendation to just go straight to the GED test. Not even have to worry about the course itself. They will give you the nod of confidence that we think you can pass the test with what you've demonstrated. And the third thing that can happen, which was like a very small majority of people would just do absolutely shit on the test, and they would have to go to like some adult learning program facility and enroll there and do all this unnecessary shit. And I was like, oh my god, if I have to go and do that, I'm going to kill myself. I'm gonna die if I have to go to some adult learning center. So then they give me the test, and the first test was writing, and I've done a lot of writing lately. And I've been corrected many times by that fucking staple and whatever the fuck in Microsoft Office. So I know all that shit, and I've read books, and I know the difference between the two yours and all that dumb shit. The possessive your and the current tense your and shit like that. And the you are and whatever, you know what I mean. So then after that, it was just basically just look over these letters, correct where it's wrong, simplify it this way, how could that be revised, blah blah blah, and where's the period here, comma there, stupid shit. And then they decided, we need a sample of your writing. Do a 200-word essay on this topic, just go. And I did that, and I write very strangely. Like I've never been able to like write normally like a normal person. I always have to write like extravagant bullshit that I've read somewhere before, like in the Troy series. I read like how that I write how like David Gamel used to write. He was like my he's dead now, by the way, in case you didn't know. David Gamel is dead. He's my favorite author. But he's where I took a lot of my inspiration for my writing from. And I write a lot like him. It's very strange. I don't think it's suitable for a fucking test. I was kind of freaking out about that, but I thought I did okay. Next test was math. Not math, sorry. It was social studies. After a break, it was social studies, and I didn't do anything in the break. I just sat around. Social studies was all about Canadian history. Shoot me in the fucking head. I know nothing about Canadian history at all. So I thought for a fact that I was going to suck dick on this one when I saw all of it was Canadian history. If it was like world history or if it was like geography or something like that, I could probably pass that. Oh, another thing that's really funny that I probably should bring up. The teacher's pet in me is just so strong. It's always been so strong. I've always been the kid that's like, teacher, I know the answer. When they ask that open-ended question to the whole class and say, anybody know? I'm always the first to raise my fucking hand. And I did it this time as well. I thought that was gone. I have never tested that since I left school, but apparently it's still here. She asked what the capital of Nunavut was. And nobody knew. Nobody knew. I'm pretty sure a lot of people knew, but they just didn't want to say. And I just kind of muttered under my breath, Iqaluit? And she was like, yeah, Iqaluit. So I got teacher's petted immediately. And I don't know why I did it, but I just knew the answer and I said it and I was correct. So fuck you. So the Canadian history thing I didn't do very well on it. I could tell that I didn't do too well on it. It was all, the questions were so strange and open-ended as well. Like, not open-ended, but like all of the answers for the question seemed like the correct answer. Like there was one that I remember. It was like, recently, some French organization has found evidence of an early Nordic settlement in fucking Newfoundland dating back to 500 BC. What does this imply? It implied every single answer that was given to me. I just chose one at complete random because I thought that it made the most sense. it implied that Christopher Columbus was not the first European in North America. And then there were other ones that were like, people used to grow their own food. And I was like, well, people obviously have fucking grown their own food. They have for a long, long, long time. That is implied by everything. So that's just one I didn't go with. So that's implied by our existence on the planet Earth today. So I didn't do very well in the social studies one. I didn't think I did, but I thought I did okay. Last test was math. This is the one that a lot of people fear, including myself. I feared math very, very heavily. The area of a surface, like circles and fucking triangles and different angles and shit like that, I'm no good with that. And that was about half the questions as well. That was half the questions. If this is at a 90-degree angle and fucking Paula and Ness have sex at this degree and they fucking have children at the in this position on the planet Earth, which is 90 degrees, fucking in latitude northwest of fucking wherever they had sex. I didn't understand half that shit. I pretty much guessed the last quarter of that test, and I thought I didn't do very well. I thought I did, I'm not sure what a pass was. I wasn't sure when I first took the test. I wasn't sure what a pass was, but I just kind of put it in my head. 75% is a pass. 75% is a pass. 80% is what I think I did on this test. Yeah, and then after that, they just like, okay, go home. Like they, once you finish the test, get the fuck out. So I got out, got my ride, went home. Checked my email later that evening, and it said, actually, I'll read you the exact email. Alright, I just pulled it up. Let's read it. Hi, Slappy Your Face. That's me. The GED pretests have been marked, and I have your results. You did very well. The pass is 450, and you scored 530 on the writing skills/essay, 500 in math, and 480 in social studies. A little bit low, but a pass. We think that if you wrote the exam without the GED prep course, you would probably pass all 5 tests. So you have a choice to make. You are welcome to come to the GED course, or you can apply for the exam and give it a shot. Call or email either Kathy or I to let us know what you decide. Thanks, Slappy Your Face. So essentially, I did the second option. I did incredibly well. I can bypass the whole fucking course, not pay an arm and a leg just to learn shit that I probably already know, and then take the test. I can just take the test, and I think that's incredible. Now, of course, that's a lot of pressure on me. If I don't take this test, then that's basically just me sticking my nose straight up in the air and saying, I can pass. Fuck this test. It is below me. And if I don't pass, then what does that say? Then that says that I'm a gigantic idiot and I should have taken the goddamn prep course. But that's currently my school predicament. That's about all you need to know, really. That's all that's happened in the last few days. I've been sitting around a few days, just kind of not even really talking or thinking about it, just playing fucking games. Yeah. Don't know what else to say. Goodbye, everybody.